That memory you keep replaying, your brain is doing it deliberately, and most people spend their entire lives never understanding why. Not because something is broken, not because you're weak, but because of a mechanism discovered accidentally in a Berlin café in 1927 by a Soviet psychologist who wasn't even looking for it. What she found that day explained something your brain does to you every single night. And by the end of this, the loop you've been trying to escape might start to feel less like a flaw and more like the most human thing about you, because your brain isn't broken. It's waiting. Her name was Bluma Zeigarnik, and she wasn't running an experiment, she was just watching waiters. The waiters in that Berlin cafe could hold entire orders in their heads, every item, every modification, every detail, right up until the moment the food hit the table. Then the order vanished. Completely. Gone. But the unfinished orders, the ones still in the kitchen, still being prepared, those stayed. Vivid. Present. Alive. She ran proper experiments. She gave people tasks, then interrupted them before they could finish. Later, she tested what they remembered. The interrupted tasks came back nearly twice as clearly as the completed ones. Her conclusion was simple and quietly disturbing. The unfinished stays alive. Your brain keeps an open file on anything without a real ending. And it doesn't hold that file quietly. It returns to it. The way a tab you never closed keeps running in the background, draining something you can't name. It does this with everything. Not just tasks, conversations that ended wrong, relationships without a real goodbye, words you can't unsay, words you never said, versions of yourself you never got to become. Every single one of those is an open file. A Yale psychologist named Susan Nolen-Hoeksema spent decades trying to understand why this happens, why the loop never seems to heal what it keeps touching. Her finding was almost cruel in its simplicity. The more you replay a painful memory, the worse it gets. Not resolved, not processed, not gradually released. Worse. The loop doesn't close the file. It carves it deeper. So if replaying makes it worse, why does the brain keep doing it? Most people assume it's an accident, a failure of willpower, a mind that doesn't know when to stop. But neuroscientists studying memory reconsolidation found something stranger underneath that assumption. Every time you retrieve a memory, you change it. Not intentionally, not consciously, but every time you pull that moment back into your mind, your brain opens it in edit mode. You return to what was said, what you should have said, how it ended, what it meant. And somewhere inside the replaying, without realizing it, you're trying to revise it into a version where you said the right thing, into a version where it ended differently, into a version that finally makes sense. And then there's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Your brain cannot tell the difference between revising a memory and reliving it, so it keeps you in the loop. Convinced it's making progress, convinced that this time, maybe this time, something will finally close. It doesn't. And somewhere deep inside you, you already know that. There's something almost unbearable about this. The same mind that built cities, that wrote symphonies, that learned to love and grieve and imagine entire futures, can get completely, genuinely stuck on a conversation from 3 years ago, on a moment that is over, on something that by every rational measure cannot be changed. But maybe the most unsettling part isn't the loop itself. It's what the loop might be protecting, because the brain doesn't always go back to fix something. Sometimes it goes back because it isn't ready to leave. A moment too significant to file away, a person it isn't finished grieving, a version of yourself it hasn't found a way to release. Maybe the real question isn't why you can't stop going back. Maybe it's, what does it say about you that part of you doesn't want to? Human, after all.